Los Angeles, the glitz, the glamour, and most importantly, the money.
Welcome to Beverly Hills. You have arrived. Rodeo Drive.
Here, luxury is commonplace, and the hardest decisions are what to order for lunch. But just across town, it's a very different picture. South Central, notorious for its gangs, violence, and poverty. In a report released every year, the Chinese government maintains that the United States is a frequent and severe abuser of human rights. Minority groups, particularly African Americans, are locked in a cycle of poverty, and politics is a game played by the rich. It's an accusation which rings true to Manya Anderson. She grew up in this neighborhood and has watched its decline. Public services like the library she used to work in have all closed down. And despite having a master's degree from one of the best universities in the US, she still can't get a job.
I don't have the same rights as people on the other side of town. I had blonde hair and blue eyes. I would be in a better financial situation today.
But what does the current administration think of the report?
You know, we have our faults, but we have a functioning democratic system, and I'm not going to respond to, Chinese accusations in the report.
China's criticism is echoed elsewhere. The past 8 years have damaged perceptions of the US overseas. The next president will face a serious challenge if he wants to maintain the country's status as a self-proclaimed moral guardian.
Holding people without trial for years on end at Guantanamo, using secret prisons and black hole sites for interrogation, subjecting people to torture. I mean, the U.S. doesn't have a leg to stand on in criticizing other governments for those practices when it itself is engaged in them.
The Chinese government itself is hardly famous for its human rights record. So we went out on the streets of California to see how Americans felt about being on the receiving end of a report like this. Orange County has the largest concentration of conservative voters of any county in the US. Incomes are some of the highest too. You think the United States should be open to the same scrutiny as a country like China?
No. We're the United States. We make our own laws and we should follow our own laws.
I'm not concerned about how we're viewed elsewhere.
Really?
I think we need to take care of what's going on in our country.
By contrast, Haight-Ashbury became famous as a center of liberal thinking and expression in the 60s.
Nobody here is going to agree with anything that the administration has done in terms of the war, in terms of Guantanamo Bay, in terms of the way that they deal with the poor, in terms of the way that they deal with black people.
But even if the Chinese government is looking out for her, life for Manya isn't getting any better on the other side of the tracks.
Living is overrated. I mean, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. The rent's due.
Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera, South Central, Los Angeles.